So today we want to talk about My Future Fund or auto-enrollment, and I'm sure you've heard quite a lot about it. We're getting calls every day around this, some from employers, some from employees, but there's a lot of questions that people have and a lot of misunderstanding as well. So what I want to do is just go through a presentation and just talk this through. What is auto-enrollment? But we're coming at it today from the viewpoint of an employee and how does it look? So if you have any questions after the presentation or after Christmas probably, give us a shout. But for now, let's just have a wee look and see what this auto enrollment is all about. And hopefully, you'll get all your answers that you need. Okay. So, what is auto enrollment? Well, first of all, it's called My Future Fund. So, that's what the government have decided to call auto enrollment. So, when you're logging in through your revenue, you go into your revenue, you actually go into My Future Fund, is what it's actually called. So why does Ireland need auto-enrolment? And Ireland is one of the last countries in the developed world to actually put in an auto-enrolment type scheme. But the reason it's actually brought in is they estimate that there's about 800,000 people in work that's not on a pension scheme. And it's really to encourage those people to start funding for their retirement because the state, I mean, population is getting older and the state just isn't going to be able to afford to keep everybody at a standard of living. So the idea is that we try to fund for ourselves. And ideally, that's what you'd want to be doing anyway. I mean, you don't want to work all your life and suddenly end up with living on the state. So yeah, that's basically the plan of it. So who will be auto enrolled? So I'm sure you've heard this already. Anyone that's earning more than 20 grand a year, anyone aged between 23 and 60 that are not already in a pension scheme that's going through payroll, you will be automatically auto enrolled. It includes employees on probation, casual staff, seasonal staff, part-time contracts. So even now at Christmas time for next Christmas, if you go in and get a part-time job, you will be auto-enrolled. Voluntary opt-ins for employees outside of those categories, i.e. the 23-year-old or the 60-year-old. So if you're 21 and you want to go into the auto-enrollment, you can opt yourself in, and the employer has to facilitate that. Who is currently not in auto enrollment? Self-employed, company directors, non-earning, um, or anybody that's already in a pension scheme that is done through salary. If you're paying a pension scheme through your bank account, personally yourself, you will be auto enrolled. It is only if your pension is going through payroll that you won't be auto enrolled. There are opt-outs. Now, this is from an employee, not an employer. An employer has no opt-out. So the opt-outs, you can exercise them after 6 months. So you have to be auto-enrolled. You have to stay in there for 6 months. In month seven and or eight, if you wish to opt out at that stage, you can request your money back. You get your money back. Employers, you don't get their money. That money stays in. The government top-up stays in. It's just your money. You will be able to opt out at each time the contribution level increases. So I'm going to show you what happens and how the schedule of payments are going to be over the next few years. And each time the payment goes up, you can opt out in that 6 month window. You can stop payments at any time in auto enrollment once you're after 6 months, but you don't always get your money back. But you're able to pause and suspend your payments at any point once you go past the 6 months. If you opt out, suspend, or pause your payment, you will be automatically auto enrolled again in 2 years' time. And again, you're back to that 6 month cycle again. So if you opt out 2 years later, you have to go back in. What are the contributions? So the contributions are rising over the next 10 years. So auto enrollment is starting January 2026. By January 36, it will be at the max contribution for auto enrollment. So years 1 to 3, it's 1.5% from you guys as employees. Your employer is going to top it up by 1.5%, and then the government top up is 0.5%. And this is a big difference between pensions and auto enrollment is that it's not tax relief that you get on your contributions, it's a government top up. So essentially, years 1 through 3, 3.5% of salaries going in. Years 4 to 6, 3% from you, 3% from employer, 1% from government top up. Year 7 to 9 is 4.5, 4.5, 1.5. And then from year 10 on, it's 6% from you, 6% from your employer, and 2% government top up. One of the questions we always get around this is, well, what happens if I start a new job in 4 years' time? Well, if you're in year 4 of auto enrollment, it's 3%. You don't go back to the start. If you get a new job in 11 years' time, you will be in a pension scheme or auto enrollment that's at 6% of your salary, 6% top up from your employer. So auto enrollment starting next year. If you move jobs, you don't go back to the start. Auto enroll stays. This is the way it's going to be. Another little bit of confusion around there is if you're working somewhere maybe part-time and earning less than 20 grand, do you be auto enrolled? You do if your total income in the year is more than 20 grand. So if you've got two jobs, in this example here, you can see job A, there's no existing scheme. Job B, there's no existing scheme, total income 25K. Both employers will be auto enrolling you. So you'll be paying auto enrollment with both your employment. But if you're in a pension scheme with one of your employment but not the other, then one of your employers will be auto enrolling you. Even though with that employer you're not earning the magic figure of 20 grand, but collectively over the year you do. It's not about what you earn with each individual employer. Retiring and investing, and this is probably one of the downsides I see with auto enrollment is that there's no advice here. And with us in advice first, if we're giving people investment advice, it has to be regulated. We have to go through a whole piece of work to help people figure out how to invest, what to invest in, what's the risk category that they should go into. But with auto enrollment, you're being expected to make a choice with no advice, which is probably one of my biggest bugbears with auto enrollment. So retirement benefits you draw down will be linked to when you draw your state pension. So currently that's 66. So auto enrollment is available to draw down when you're 66 along with the state pension. Easy access will only be available if on ill health grounds. Other than that, you can't get access to your pension early. You will be able to draw down part of your fund tax-free. And again, this sort of follows pension legislation in that you can draw down 25% of your fund. It's going to be the same here. And at the minute, the balance of the fund, again, like normal traditional pensions, you're going to be able to buy an annuity or invest it into an approved retirement fund at age 66 on. So if you're not 66 and not on auto enrollment, you don't have to worry about those decisions just yet. If you're just going into auto enrollment, those are decisions that you'll make when you're coming out the other end of it. Other key features, your account is portable, and this is important. It is built on a pot follows member basis, which means that if you have 4 or 5 employers over your working life, the auto enrollment goes with you. You don't stop and start, you've got one account. No AVCs, again, big issue for us in terms of you're not allowed to top this up. So if you want to increase your contributions, you have to do a private arrangement alongside your auto enrollment. And by the way, another piece of confusion around that, you can have a private pension along with your auto enrollment. Rules and terms and conditions apply, but you can. No early repayment or retirement. So you must be 66 before you retire. Normal traditional pensions, you can retire earlier on them. Auto enrollment, you cannot, other than on ill health grounds. What effect does it have on your money? So just give you an example here of somebody's earning 32 grand. This means that 480 euros will be deducted from your salary annually, and it's deducted on your net pay basis. You don't get tax relief on this, so it physically is 480 quid a year you're down. It's not tax relief. Because remember what we said, it's that government top up not tax relief in your contributions. Who will run my future fund? The National Auto-Enrolment Retirement Savings Authority, NERSA. Well, they'll collect the premiums, they allocate the investment returns, they operate an online portal. There's a lot of challenges with this online portal already, but yeah, they are there to give back office support and communicate and provide information. They are the people that's running this. So for your communications, these are the people that you're going to have to talk to. And by the way, they are not advisors. They administer this, and it's supposed to be auto, as in auto enrollment. We've already seen major issues with this, so it's not just as simple. Okay, who actually is appointed to be the fund manager? So who is handling the money? Who's making the investment decisions? And you can see the three fund managers that are approved there are actually appointed: Irish Life, BlackRock, and Amundi. You do not have a choice on who these you go to. You will be asked to pick an investment strategy, high, medium, low. If you can't or don't, you will be put into a default strategy, which is age-based. The younger you are, the more risk will be applied. As you get closer to retirement, it will descale and come back from risky investments into safer ones. But there is no advice. That's pretty much it, guys. The money goes to the three fund managers equally. The returns come back in equally, so you don't know whether Irish Life's doing better than BlackRock. You're just going to get the average of whatever the returns come in. So you don't know, you don't have a choice on who you're investing with. It's pooled monies. How do you access your account? Once enrolled at January 2026, use your verified mygov.ie. So you must have your verified gov set up. You'll get access to it then. And you set that up through mygov.ie if needed. So it's your My Future Fund. You will have access it through your MyGov. So you're going to see that in your MyGov when you log in. Probably the best way to get your head around My Future Fund or auto enrollment is by questions. And a lot of the questions are fairly similar we get. Like this one: what happens if I already have a pension scheme? If it is not through payroll, you will be auto enrolled. No choice. Your employer doesn't have a choice. This has to happen. The only choice that an employer has is whether he wants to keep you in auto enrollment or whether they want to do something else. So if your employer wants to do something as good as or better than auto enrollment, then yeah, you may not have to go into auto enrollment at all. You may be in a pension scheme. You may have an advisor like ourselves or whoever your employer brings in to actually help set it up. But otherwise, you're in auto enrollment. Is this instead of the state pension? No. My Future Fund is separate. You still will qualify for the state pension. That's if it's there. And the question is, will the state pension be there in its current form? That's going to be challenging for Ireland to keep going because the population is getting older. There's less people coming in, so there's going to be less and less people working to support our retired people. So it's going to be challenging around the state pension. But initially, is this replacing? No, it's not replacing it. What happens if it changes jobs? Goes with you. There's no issue there. Can I change my contributions? No. They're locked in, as we said before, years 1 through 3, right up to age 10 years. Locked. The minute you cannot increase it, you have to do a private added to a private scheme to actually help boost the My Future funds. When can I access it? Age 66. But the government has indicated this may align with future state pension age. So if the state pension changes, then the likelihood auto enrollment is going to go with it. So if pension age would happen to go to 72, well, there's where your auto enrollment is going to go as well. What happens in the pension if I die? It's paid out to your estate, to your loved ones, to whoever is getting everything for whoever you've made your will or your estate is, it'll be paid to your beneficiaries. Are there charges? Yes. And believe it or not, these have not been announced yet. They're supposed to announce them before the end of December, but at the minute we don't have them. So I've kind of given a guesstimate as to what I think they'll look like. So it mightn't just be, and guys, this may not be correct. It's just my estimate of what's happening. I do think There's going to be an administration fee of €1 per month, and I do think the annual management charge of about zero point 0.7. Now, again, I'm only guessing, guys. But yeah, these aren't deducted from you, they're deducted from the fund. So they're not deducted from what you actually pay in. So they don't come out of what you're paying in, it's deducted from the funded source. Is it worth staying in? And this is quite an interesting question. And my answer is if your employer is going to help you fund for your retirement, why would you not stay in? Like, if you can imagine what you're doing is you're saving money during your working life to help keep yourself in your retirement life. So, doing that's important anyway. If your employer is going to help you and the government are going to top that up, why would you not? In fact, the only reason that you should not be saving for retirement is that you cannot afford it and you need the money now. If that's the case, do what you need to do. Otherwise, stay in. Save as much as you possibly can because you're going to need it all when you get to pension age. Do all employers have to set up AE? Yes, other than the ones that we've already spoke about. Guys, that's pretty much it. Auto enrollment, fairly basic. It is as simple as that. It is just a savings plan for your retirement. It has lots of things wrong with it. Is it the best? Is it the best pension arrangement? No, it's a basic pension arrangement. Will it provide you a good retirement? Yeah, if you were starting this at 20 years of age and going to 66 and saving for 40 years, it might give you a decent. Other than that, probably not. You need to, if you're worried about your retirement or really want to take it seriously, sit down with somebody that'll help you figure out how to actually fund for your retirement. Someone like ourselves, your own financial advisor, you will have questions about saving for retirement, but by all means, guys, come back to us. Auto enrollment is happening, there is no choice. That was just a whistle stop around what it actually looks like. It is happening. There is no choice. But what I would say is do save for retirement, whether you do auto enrollment, whether you're in a pension scheme, whether you're doing auto enrollment on your own personal, save as much as you can that you can afford to put away for your retirement because you're going to need it, guys. Any questions? Come back to me. Bye for now.